Coming up on Around San Diego, neighbors in Claremont shared their concerns after construction starts on a 17-unit ADU in their neighborhood. Our Brian White is working for you, learning how this is allowed. The push against Measure G still ahead, and if you don't know what the ballot measure is, we're breaking it down and showing you both sides of the debate. Plus, a big change for older drivers at the Department of Motor Vehicles. Our Steve Price explains. Thanks so much for joining us as we take you around San Diego. I'm Anna Laurel. I'll get you caught up on a week's worth of news and look ahead in less than 30 minutes. And right now, we're starting with the Padres. The Padres are set to face the Dodgers in minutes from now in Game 1 of the NLDS.
Woo! We're coming. We're coming. They know we're coming. And, man, we're going to play some really good baseball out there.
That was Fernando Tatis after Wednesday night's win against the Braves. We're all really looking forward to this series against the Dodgers, of course. Beat LA.
That's a lot of people. I kind of hope they're going to put in a parking garage, but I kind of doubt that's going to happen.
Plans are underway to add 17 ADUs behind a single-family home in Claremont that neighbors say will be a monstrosity. CBS 8's Brian White spoke with neighbors and to the developer. He's working for you to find out if this project is even following the rules.
17 units behind here. You got to be kidding me.
Neighbors on Almayo Avenue not happy about what's coming.
There's no parking here. We've got a nice, quiet cul-de-sac.
I checked. This half-acre single-family lot was sold for $1.4 million in October. The existing home will be remodeled and rented out, while 17 ADUs will be added to the backyard.
If it can happen here, it can happen anywhere.
Bob Brindell lives nearby. He showed me where they're already prepping and grading the dirt for construction.
This is at the end of a cul-de-sac. You know, there's no parking as it is. Where are these people going to park?
I found out the developer is SDRE. They have offices in Kearny Mesa, and I reached out.
Everybody admits and agrees we have a housing crisis. Nobody has a perfect solution.
Skylar Hoffman is an attorney representing SDRE. He grew up in Bay Park and Point Loma and says each unit will be a one-bedroom, typically 500 to 800 square feet, and he doesn't believe parking will be an issue.
Millennials and Gen Zers do not own cars in the typical fashion that we did 20 years ago. They're Ubering, they're taking public transportation, they're working from home.
Behind the existing home, they're adding 9 separate structures, most of them 2 stories, ADUs stacked on top of one another. I checked. They're able to do this using San Diego's ADU bonus program. They're allowed a bonus unit for every affordable one they build, and because there's a bus stop within a half mile, it's a transit priority area. That means no parking required and no real cap on the total number of ADUs, as long as they're building to code.
It's NIMBY, right? It's not in my backyard. And everybody's fine with affordable housing, right? As long as it's not next door to me.
And while SDRE is following all the rules, neighbors feel it just isn't right.
Single-family residents, when I moved here, that's all there were, single-family residences. And now they're putting these, or just dropping them in and not telling us and just forcing it through.
In Claremont, working for you, Brian White, CBS 8.
All right, Brian, thank you. The San Diego City Council approved a resolution calling on the federal government to declare the South Bay sewage crisis a national emergency. County supervisors are also demanding action. Supervisor Tara Lawson-Remer wants the EPA to find out what contaminants might be in the Tijuana River Valley and estuary.
We know that a lot of the sewage that's been running through the Tijuana River Valley is from manufacturing plants, it's from heavy industry, and we think it deserves a careful look.
Next week, the Board of Supervisors will vote whether to petition the EPA to send researchers to test for toxins that might be impacting people's health. The 2 candidates competing to lead Assembly District 79 came face-to-face last night, sharing their visions for the future. Lachey Sharp Collins and Colin Parent went head-to-head on issues ranging from housing and homelessness to education and public safety. This district includes parts of Southeast San Diego, Lemon Grove, Spring Valley, La Mesa, and El Cajon. Top of mind for many voters, housing affordability.
Rent is way too high. It's almost impossible for people to imagine buying a home. These are issues that I've worked on a lot on public policy, and I think that I can do a job day one in the legislature to make things a little bit easier for people trying to make a go of it here in San Diego.
We got to do credit repair work. We have to look at the equity program, figure out how to create an equity program to get people into homes, and then provide them additional support to maintain the home, support them along their journey.
Now, for a closer look at both candidates, just go to CBS8.com. Measure G is dividing opinions across the county. If passed, it would raise the sales tax by ½ a cent to help pay for road repairs, carpool lanes, and mostly public transit. Earlier this week, I sat down with someone who supports Measure G and one of its biggest critics to hear both sides of the debate. Now, we won't hear from Sandag, who will actually oversee the transportation projects. We asked them to join us for this discussion, but they declined.
We want public transit. We want less cars on the road. We want less smog in the air so that our kids have less asthma. That's why we support yes on Measure G. It'll reduce congestion for everybody, even if you don't use transit. And if you use transit, it will make it so much better.
I sat down with Manny Rodriguez with the City Heights community group that's part of Yes for Measure G, and Supervisor Jim Desmond, who used to be on the board of Sandag and says no to Measure G. Rodriguez and others argue improving public transit will benefit even those who don't use it.
Even if you will never step foot in a bus or never step foot in a train, if you can get 10 people on the highway into a bus, that's like 140 feet of gridlock removed just for you two.
Critics of Measure G are pushing back. They raise concerns over what they say is Sandag's long track record of abandoned projects and misuse of taxpayer dollars. San Diego County taxpayers already pay a ½ cent sales tax for Sandag Road projects, and Desmond says the projects aren't done.
I wouldn't give another dime to Sandag because they don't keep their promises and they mismanage the money. They've got a history of mismanagement.
Critics say promised projects include widening the 5, the 8, the 15, the 805, the 52, 56, 67, and 78. Did it happen? Only a partial expansion is done on the 15. In fact, critics say 15 promised projects from the tax we pay right now are still unfinished.
Sandag, the entity who's going to be managing these dollars, has not kept their promise, has mismanaged the funds in the past, is under FBI investigation right now for some of that mismanagement. So let's make them get their house in order first and keep the promises of the past before they come to us and ask for any more money.
Desmond also questions the focus on public transit.
People in Alpine and people Ramona, people Julian, people San Marcos and Oceanside and other places are paying for these things and not getting the benefit of the services or getting the road improvements they need.
Is Measure G the solution to San Diego's traffic and transportation troubles, or just another costly promise?
We can't keep living with the status quo, and Measure G gives us a new path forward.
You get to decide in November. In San Diego, this is Anna Laurel for CBS 8. Sandag itself drafted a similar tax measure back in 2016, but because a government entity was behind it, the measure needed a 3/4 majority vote to pass, and it did not get that. Well, this time, union groups got the measure on the ballot. That means it's a citizens' initiative and only needs a simple majority to pass. We put a link to the entire interview with Supervisor Desmond and Manny Rodriguez with Say Yes to Measure G. Just head to CBS8.com and click on this story. Marijuana dispensaries across the state will soon be allowed to sell food and non-alcoholic beverages. Governor Newsom signed Assembly Bill 1775. It paves the way for Amsterdam-like cannabis cafes. The bill says cannabis cafe workers have the right to wear respirator masks paid for by their employers. Employers would also be required to include secondhand smoke in their injury and illness prevention plans. The bill will go into effect January 1st. We're learning more about a woman who was pretending to be an attorney. According to the State Bar of California, Maria Leanos was reported by her own niece, claiming she had repeatedly misrepresented herself as an attorney. The State Bar says she'd been operating a law office without a valid license in El Cajon and was targeting immigrants who were in need of legal representation. 7 boxes of client files were seized from her office. Clients or former clients of Leanos can seek the return of their files by contacting the State Bar. Here's the number. It's 213-765-1649. Prosecutors in Los Angeles say they're reviewing new evidence in the case of the Mendez brothers, who were convicted of killing their parents in Beverly Hills more than 35 years ago. The Los Angeles County District Attorney George Gascon said Eric and Lyle Mendez asked a court to vacate their convictions. Gascon says his office will review new evidence and also decide whether the case should be considered for resentencing. Both brothers are serving life sentences at the Donovan Correctional Facility right here in San Diego County. A hearing is set for November 29th. A big change for older drivers at the Department of Motor Vehicles. Many of them will no longer be required to take a written test when they renew their license. CBS 8's Steve Price explains the new rules and the driving force behind the DMV's new policy.
The DMV has hit the brakes on a requirement forcing a written knowledge test for drivers who are renewing their license and are over the age of 70. So what do they think of this? They're giving it the green light.
My brain is full of this stuff.
Paula Liska spent 2 days cramming for the DMV's written test, then got here and learned she didn't have to take it.
Hallelujah.
Paula, at 96 years young, thinks she would have passed, but better safe than sorry.
Some of the questions are what we called in college Mickey Mouse. They switched the words just a little.
Paula directly referenced this question. What should you do when there's a school bus ahead that starts flashing yellow warning lights? Slow down and prepare to stop, stop immediately and remain stopped, or cautiously pass the school bus on the left. The correct answer is slow down and prepare to stop.
70 plus still have to come in for a vision test, a quick photo, but no more written test.
DMV spokeswoman Anita Gore says the move is expected to reduce the amount of foot traffic at DMV offices by about 50,000 people a month and should have no effect on driver safety.
Someone who's been driving for 15 years or 30 years, who's never gotten a ticket, never been in an accident, there's no reason for us to believe that they don't know the rules of the road.
Antonio Martinez gives the move 2 thumbs up.
Great. I tried a couple times and I just missed it by 2 or 3 stupid questions. And I know them. You know, I haven't had any driving tickets in 30 years, something like that.
Those 70 and over will still have to take a written test to renew their license if within 2 years of your license expiring, you've had 2 or more accidents, a DUI suspension, or a violation point count greater than 1. Also, written tests will be required for anyone getting a license for the first time in California, even if you have a license from another state.
I'm overqualified to drive. You want me to teach you how to drive?
Paula says she only drives during the day and short distances. In Claremont, Steve Price, CBS 8.
Paula, what a sweetheart. San Diego city leaders are marking a milestone for road repairs. Mayor Gloria gave an update saying over 1,600 miles of road have been fixed. That's about a quarter of our entire road network. Mayor Gloria says the city's plan prioritizes the most traveled roadways and did acknowledge that more work still needs to be done.
Quality of our roads is one of the most frustrating things that I experience as your mayor. I drive on these streets too, and I certainly hear the same frustration from so many San Diegans.
According to the city's most recent assessment, only about 1 in 5 San Diego roads are considered to be in good condition. The city's new pavement management says $188 million needs to be invested into roads over the next 8 years. Coming up, San Diego's professional sports teams are coming together to support our military families. We'll show you how they're making it happen next. San Diego's professional sports teams are coming together to support our military families. Representatives from 8 different teams got together Thursday to launch the San Diego Military Sports Alliance. If a military family wants to attend a Clippers, Gulls, or Legion game, they'll be able to attend the game at the lowest possible price, even if it's close to selling out.
San Diego really isn't anything without our military community. They make up almost 1/3 of the entire population of San Diego. So what we're trying to do is find a way where the sports teams can actually invite the families to come in, get discounted tickets, enjoy our games, but make sure they have full access.
This alliance will soon launch a website, sdmilitarytix.com, where families can go for more information. Still ahead, community members are stepping up to help a young girl diagnosed with leukemia. We've got a closer look in the Zevely Zone. Right now, Alpine community members are stepping up to support a 7-year-old girl recently diagnosed with leukemia. In the Zevely Zone, Jeff shows us how you can participate in several upcoming fundraisers.
September 8th probably came and went on your calendar without much fanfare, but that's the date that changed an Alpine family's life.
Do you have any desserts?
This 7-year-old is preparing a make-believe lunch for her grandma.
I use it as magic fairy dust.
But the pain she felt in her ankle last month was as real as it gets.
Right here and right here.
Kennedy Carver Eward thought she had twisted her ankle while cheerleading.
I had to spread my legs really far for it, and my cheer shoes were kind of rubbing on my ankle.
When her mother, Janae, took Kennedy to see the doctor, the diagnosis was shocking.
Your daughter has leukemia. And in that moment, truthfully, I think I blacked out.
Kennedy was immediately admitted to the hospital to start what will be a rigorous 3-year fight.
Everything was so urgent, like within hours we were getting treatment.
I don't want them to be alone.
Jen Stockbridge, a close family friend, helped launch a GoFundMe page for Kennedy.
She's incredible. To be 7 years old and have to face something so scary, she's so brave. She's so strong.
A Flip for Kennedy fundraiser will raise money for the family on October 5th, followed by a blood drive on October 12th.
It doesn't matter what blood type you are, it's unit for unit.
Does that hurt? With the community's help, Kennedy's future blood transfusions will be free. Her father, Mark, is grateful for the community's kindness.
Insurance only covers so much. It's a specialty care. It's not a regular doctor's visit. When we go in, medications are expensive, hospital stays are expensive.
Which is why so many want the family to know they're not in this alone.
I love them with all my heart. They're very, very dear to me, and I look at Kennedy as if she is one of my grandchildren.
With a 97% chance at a full recovery, this brave second grader reminds us all to have faith for Kennedy.
It was kind of scary in the first place, but then once they kind of told me more about it, kind of knew a little.
In the Zevely Zone,
My daughter will be healthy, lifted up by all the prayer.
Jeff Zevely, CBS 8.
She's so brave, isn't she? For more information about the upcoming fundraisers and blood drives for Kennedy, click on the help button at cbs8.com. And that's going to do it for us. Thanks so much for staying with me and staying informed. For CBS 8, I'm Anna Laurel. Take care.